Today should be a quick one. I remember my experience buying shares for the very first time. It was confusing to say the least. There was a lot going on that order sheet. When purchasing shares and spending thousands of dollars, it makes sense to have an understanding of what all of the fields that you can be inputting information into on an order sheet is, so that you don't throw away money unnecessarily. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking very specifically about a section on an order sheet when you go to buy shares that you need to fill out before your order or trade can be executed. It's known as a price limit or a limit order. And just quickly before I dive into the specifics of today's topic, I've left some links in the description down below, which I think will be pretty handy, which talk about how investing in stocks and the share market, how some of the intricacies work. I've basically been building a playlist over time because I myself have been on this journey. I've been wanting to learn more about it, want to understand more about it. And so every time there's something that I get a little bit confused on, or I need a little bit more of an understanding of, or I want to understand everything contained within, I make a video and I put it into that playlist. So if you feel like that might be of use to you, feel free to use that resource as you wish. Like I said, links are down in the description below. Okay, let's get into it. A price limit or a limit order is a pretty simple function in nature to understand. When you go about buying or selling shares, the whole concept of it is that it allows you to set a limit as to what you're willing to pay or sell your shares for. That limit is a specified price. If that price is reached or the conditions are better based on what you set your limit at, the trade will be executed or your order will be executed, and the purchasing or selling of those shares will occur. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more technical. Depending on the type of transaction, the way that that order will be fulfilled will be different depending on the scenario. If you're purchasing shares, the price limit will only allow a transaction to take place if the shares that you're buying are available at a lower price than what you set that limit at, essentially meaning you're spending less money to acquire these shares. The other way to think about it is that that price limit when buying shares is the highest price that you're willing to pay to acquire that stock. Opposite direction, if you're selling shares, the price limit will only allow a transaction to occur if the shares that you're selling are at that price limit or higher, essentially meaning you make more money on the sale because you've set them to a higher price. Same as before, the way to think about it in terms of this scenario is this is the cheapest that you are willing to let those shares go for to someone else who's willing to buy them. For those who dollar cost average or people who only purchase shares once per year, they might use this option because they just want to fast track that process. They just want to dump their cash into that investment because that's their goal. It's a long game generally for the people who use that. They are going to be buying consistently over a long period of time. We're talking decades in the making potentially. So they're not too fussed about saving a few dollars here and there at the time that they're purchasing, because that's just going to be consistent basically forever. So what purpose do price limits then serve? Well, for frequent traders, people who are day traders, you could call them, they might be able to set a price limit which will allow them to scoop up some shares at a cheaper price, or they might be able to sell their shares at a higher price knowing that the price might go up and it will allow them to make a little bit extra cash on the transaction. It would also at times be in the best interest for those who are trading large volumes of money, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to set price limits as well, because if they're patient and they're not too fussed, they might set the price to purchase at a certain level when that liquid cash is ready to be absorbed into the market and they feel comfortable with that buy price. This will allow them to basically buy large volumes of shares kind of on discount, or vice versa if they wanted to sell and people are willing to pay for it. It's a way of patience, I suppose, but it's also a way for them to manage large sums of money in a space where there's a lot of uncertainty because of the fluctuations, how markets react to news, all of that humbo jumbo that gets mixed into it. The concept here is that it gives a bit of control back to the person who's wanting to make a transaction. Price limits are also very, very useful for people who don't have time to actively manage the price of a stock but want to get some skin in the game. This is a very good opportunity for people like myself, who I buy about $5,000 worth of shares every year at the moment. That's kind of my minimum that I'm investing into the share market. Now, I could set an order limit to purchase the shares that I'm planning to buy and leave it open-ended until that specific date that I'm supposed to buy them every 12 months. And if the price drops to that amount, in that period of time, I might scoop up some shares at a cheaper price. And then when the time comes around for me to invest like I normally would, I might not have to actually purchase them because I actually got them on sale. This can be really beneficial for a lot of people because I'm going to buy those shares no matter what. So setting an order price to buy them at a much cheaper or discounted price is in my best interest. If the share market has a really bad day and they drop down like really low for some crazy reason, that order will fulfill automatically because I've set it up in a way for it to be ready to go as long as the criteria or conditions are met. Let's dumb it down as well. I want to do a quick example just to give real context. Let's say I want to buy 100 shares of a specific stock at $50 per share. This would cost me theoretically $5,000 at that price, plus brokerage, of course. Now, I might not be fussed about when I purchase them. It could be in the next 12 months, any day of the week. So I set my price limit at $48 because at the end of that 12-month period, I'm gonna buy them anyway. So if the stock drops down to $48 per share, I'm gonna spend $4,800 on those shares plus brokerage and save myself $200 for a purchase that I was always going to make. Price limit can be pretty handy. One thing to keep in mind is that most of the time you can set any time frame for how long you want an order to last and a price limit to be in existence for. Just keep in mind that different brokers have different rules and some, not all, but some might not allow you to have them open until they're fulfilled. Just keep that in mind. Definitely look at the broker you're using. That will be pretty obvious once you are filling out an order form. Two other quick fun facts worth mentioning that I've kind of already touched on as well is that number one, you can generally amend order sheets if they haven't been fulfilled, meaning you can pretty much change that price limit at any time. If you think that you've been a little bit reserved in how low a stock's going to drop and you want to buy them a little bit sooner, you can amend that. If you have been a little bit greedy and set your price at a little bit too high because you want to make a lot of money on the sale, but no one's buying because the stock isn't going up, you can amend that. So just keep that in mind as well. As long as the order hasn't been fulfilled, generally you can change it up. On the contrary as well, if you just don't want to buy it anymore for that price, or you're just not interested in buying that stock anymore, it's never going to get fulfilled, whatever the reason, you can also cancel at any time. It's something that, generally speaking, there's no additional costs to do that if nothing has been fulfilled. The broker I use in particular charges no fees whatsoever. And that is pretty much what a price limit is, or a limit order is in general terms. Hopefully I've explained it in simple terms as well. I know it's not the most complex topic in the world. However, to someone, hopefully it's been helpful. If it has been helpful to you, make sure hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps the channel grow. I really do appreciate the support, and it definitely does not go unnoticed. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to quickly do that. With that being said, that's all I have for you. So I'm going to leave you there. Have a good day. Have a good week. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.